welcome to the latest Conversation with Friends. I am absolutely delighted today that we have two super women with us, joining us today from Perth. We have Vicki Rasmussen and Annika. I probably said that wrong in my terrible Scottish accent, but they will introduce themselves. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
Vicki, I think you'll be very familiar to many, many people in our sector across Australia, but there are a wider audience in the fundraising nest. So I am going to throw it over to you both. Could you just tell us who you are and where you work right now?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Vicki Rasmussen. I'm the CEO of Charlie's Foundation here in Western Australia. We're a small hospital-based fundraising foundation. We raise about $1.5–2 million a year, depending on how successful our gifts and wills are that year. And we give out about $1 million back to the hospital as well for research and other projects that improve the patient journey whilst they're in hospital. My entire career has been in fundraising. So I have been around for a little bit longer than I care to remember. And I'm super passionate. I'm super passionate about what we do. I am a fellow of FIA. I currently sit on the board of FIA. And I've just had the most amazing career doing some really special things, improving the lives of just so many people, which has been a privilege.
Brilliant. And who do we have next to you?
I'm Annika. This is my mom. I also work for the Charlie's Foundation for Research. I'm the administration fundraising officer. And so I just do the processing and all of that sort of work for us here.
This is brilliant. And this is why I wanted to interview you guys. You are a first. I met you up in Perth, and that's because you guys were delivering one of the sessions. And I am just so inspired that you are following in your mom's footsteps. I've got three girls. Yes, they've been out shaking buckets for me in the past, but I don't know if they'll end up in this career. Like this, it's so inspiring, Vicki, that your daughter is, this might not be her future forever, but at the moment she's kind of in this space with you. As a mum, how does that feel?
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud. Some mornings I'd like to leave her at home and to her and clean a bedroom. But no, I am really, really proud of her. And, yeah, sure, I've got my mum goggles on, but she's doing a cracking job as well. She's contributing. We're a growing team here at Charlie's. We're a small team, but a growing team. And look, the opportunity came up. The position was vacant when Annika finished high school. And as a typical mum, it was like, you're not sitting around playing PlayStation all day. You've got to make some tough choices, mate. She's held her own, and she contributes just in such an amazing way. She is brilliant with our donors, and it's that type of thing. It's the donor care, the donor love, and that genuine connection and building those relationships that she does on a daily basis that really gives me the greatest sense of joy.
Annika, I mean, wow, I know she's sitting next to you, so this is a tough one. But working with your mum and for your mum as a young person, how do you? Yeah, tell me, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
I don't know about other people, but it's good for me. Mum and I have always been very close. Ever since I was little, she's got me into all this sort of stuff. We've been doing surf lifesaving since I was 5 or 6, and I raced and then I stopped racing and Mum was officiating, so I followed her there as well and I started officiating. Yeah, we've always been very close, so it's fine for me. Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's really inspiring. I mean, to want to, of course, you must be close to want to work with your mum and learn from her. Have you learned a lot from your mum in the work, but also kind of how she approaches leadership and things?
Yeah, Mum is terrifyingly good at what she does, and she always has been. She's been so high up and everything from as long as I can remember, and so yeah, I think I've always gradually learnt that, but then being here, it's just been so much more, and you see so much more and all that sort of thing.
And tell me, let's talk a bit about the session that you delivered at conference. So what was it that you were sharing that you had learned in what you do?
Yeah, it was what was it?
Best of the West.
Best of the West, sorry.
Yeah.
And I was just talking about the campaign that the Saba Rose Button Foundation did for Rottnest Channel Swim. It's one of WA's biggest and most major events, and I've participated in it. This year was my fifth, my sixth crossing total. And I hadn't done a team in a very long time, and I had just been away, so I hadn't done quite the training that I needed to go back to doing the normal duos and solos that I've been doing for a while. And they gave me this most incredible opportunity to be able to come back and jump in a team. And at first I wasn't too sure how I'd go doing that. I hadn't done one in a while.
Yeah.
But the spirit and the everything that Saba Rose Button Foundation did to help us along, and the energy on the island when we got there, it was just amazing. It was the most fun thing I think I've ever done.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How exciting. Vicki, going to come back to you for a bit. So you've been in fundraising a long time, as you say. What, as a fundraiser, what are some of the kind of big things you've seen change over the last 10 years? I know prior to there's pre-COVID and post-COVID, and we're always going to refer to that moment in history. But just looking at fundraising, what have you seen kind of really change?
I think it's probably more around the opportunistic fundraising moments, things like, the giving days, those sorts of things that are now really evolving, even the mass participation and those community-based events, those peer-to-peer events, in COVID, I think we were all held our breath thinking they were just going to stop. They've actually gone from strength to strength. And I think one of the things that Annika spoke about with the Saba Rose Button Foundation was exactly that. Prior to this event they had this year, they'd only raised about $160,000. Well, they raised a whopping $70,000 from one event, and it was all peer-to-peer fundraising. So I think those moments in time, and people are connecting with people, we continue that strength of the, people giving to people, which has sort of been our mantra the whole time. But that is just still really coming through really strongly. I think it's interesting that fundraising just keeps going. That's the biggest thing. It's never stopped. Even in the financial times challenges we've had recently, it keeps going. And I think that's what's really exciting.
Yeah, I think, and this was the legend and friend of mine, Ken Burnett, taught me, in times of crisis, people they need to give and they give to need. And that was obvious the Captain Tom story in the UK, in times of crisis, it's almost like people want to do more. And I think that's that kind of momentum of generosity and what can we do to help. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's a really exciting space. And I think with the kind of the giving platforms and things that are there, I think charities need to be very onto it and make sure that donating is an enjoyable experience.
Yep.
And they capture them the same way so that they're not, there's different ways to give. One of the things I think we all know, and you're a CEO who knows what fundraising is, the biggest challenge facing our sector, I think, is at board level, is understanding CEOs and boards understanding fundraising. How, as a CEO, how can we get the message across to CEOs and boards, the critical investment and strategy behind fundraising?
Yeah, look, I think that is an absolute challenge. And if we can bottle it, you and I might have an income stream forever.
Yeah.
I think it's just continually displaying back to our boards the impact that we're making, and look, I'm in a privileged position that my life has grown up in fundraising. So I've taken a bit of a different CEO role. I think we need to get more people like myself into these positions of leadership. We need to break out the mold of just being the accountant or the lawyer moving into those leadership positions, and even more of the marketing and the sales people, let alone those with fundraising and relationship building skills. That is the key. But it's getting your board to touch and feel what's going on as well. I think that's really crucial. We've got to create moments. The board cannot be this big group of faceless people that sort of sit at arm's length from the organisations any longer. they've got to be down in the trenches without getting into the weeds, if that can make sense. You know, we've got to have them understanding the impact. It's on us to report back appropriately. And, you know, so one of the things I've done, for example, is actually we've changed our board meetings. So we have a formal board meeting every second month. And on the alternate month, we're doing a workshop where we're either educating them about a fundraising program or about one of the impact stories that we've got. You know, we bring in the storytelling into our board reports. We talk about that impactful donor, those sorts of things. And we've got to take responsibility for creating those moments.
Fabulous. I absolutely love it. And Annika, you've obviously just dipping your, just starting your career. What can you see where you would like to go in fundraising? So at the moment, you're getting to kind of see quite a lot of different touch points. Is there an element of fundraising that kind of sparks your inspiration?
I'm not really sure. I like it all at the moment. And like you said, I am seeing all of it. All the staff we have now, I've seen when they've come on board, and it's really cool seeing how they've taken into their jobs and they change it and do their own thing as well. I think I like the storytelling the most at the moment, and that's probably my favourite part. And watching Alana do that is really cool.
Do you already understand? Can you see the importance of the donor love, the donor journey, kind of, looking after our donors? Can you already see how fundamentally critical that is to successful fundraising?
Yeah, for sure. I don't even know how to say it.
You're talking to those people every day.
Yeah. You talk.
Crucial.
Yeah, exactly. You talk to them every day. They're the people that call you on the phone. They're the people that you have to call when something's not quite right. It's really important. And it's not just me in the admin role. It's everyone. Hannah has to call people. Alana, Sarah is so involved in the community. It's amazing.
Yeah. Reminding our donors, the impact that they're making. I think there was a shift in my brain when I was a fundraiser that was a bit of a kind of epiphany moment when I was told you should not be telling your donors how wonderful your organisation is, because they know what you do. What you need to do is tell them how amazing they are and the impact they're making. And it was like that. It was like a moment of, yes, we don't need to tell them, look what we do. This is amazing. It's what you do is incredible. And I think that was a real shift for me in understanding what we're there to do. So absolutely. Vicki, what do you enjoy the CEO role? Do you miss being in the trenches of fundraising?
Oh, it depends what day it is, to be honest. This week's a great week. And I'm loving being a CEO. We had our awards night earlier this week, and I got to speak to some incredible people from the hospital setting through to our donors, and we are making an impact. I do miss sometimes being face to face with people, and I guess I'm really lucky though that I still have quite an active role because we are such a small team. So I certainly coordinate most of our gifts and wills type space and any major gifts. But I'm also really passionate about bringing up the skill level of my team. I don't want to be around forever. It's been enjoyable using a different part of my brain. Sometimes, the stuff around finance and governance. I love the governance space, but finance and the legal challenges sometimes can be a little bit taxing.
And HR.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
people.
Yeah, that's right.
But sometimes when she feels like it, she'll come and she'll take the stack of mail off my desk and open it herself. And
that's
sort
awesome.
It out, pass it back.
Yeah, I do get a buzz.
Leading by example, absolutely. We're all there and doing it. And as a fellow of FI, ethics is so important, education is so important, and the community is another element that we're often at Fundraising Nest. I think peer-to-peer learning is where I've done a lot of my learning, and there is so much fabulous education out there, and the ethics again is super important. But have you, I've been influenced by so many people that inspire me. Do you have mentors and role models that have taught you just as much as traditional education?
Oh, absolutely. And we share one of those, Ken Burnett. I'm not as close to him as you are, and I do have a little bit of envy from time to time. But, you know, I was back in the day, because I've been around for a little while, and I was preparing a skills, when FIA used to do the skills 1, 2, and 3, and I was preparing a relationship fundraising piece. And I actually just wrote to him and said, at the end of my presentation, I said, you know, Ken, I've just, you know, spewed out your book verbatim almost. You are the backbone of my presentation. I just wanted to say thank you. And I got this letter back from him, and he was so chuffed. And it was that sort of thing. And it just reinforced that somebody like him was actually walking the talk. You know, it wasn't just all lip service. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons. Nobody is too important to take that moment and to say thank you or engage personally, those, you know, that type of thing. And then we've got some amazing examples in Australia. You know, there are people like Nigel Harris around. There are people, you know, like Brian Holmes, you know, without somebody like him in the capital or major gift space. And then there are more contemporary people as well, you know, like the Ben Coxes of the world, Meredith Dwyer, yourself. You know, that's one thing I love about our sector. You know, I find that we are an incredibly sharing and caring group of people. And really the egos, I do think, are in check. You know, I think none of us sort of walk around thinking we are the font of everything, and we're prepared to sit down and have a conversation with each other. And I'm just learning every day, you know, and that's why I love things like when you were across for our forum. You know, it was just phenomenal to have 180 West Australian fundraisers in the room together, and hearing things like from Annika, Best of the West, because sometimes when you are busy, some of those things just don't necessarily, you know, kick you in the face like they should be. But those opportunities to learn every day, I think, are just monumental.
They absolutely are. And I had a great time in Perth. I really loved my time there. And you're right. It's, you know, whether it's just hearing, getting out of where you're at and being inspired, you know, inspiration is one of my biggest things. And if somebody, you know, that the foundations of fundraising we've all done it, and we all know how to do it. But actually, it's those inspiring moments. It's about taking the moments that inspired us and then kind of recreating them as yourself. And that's what I love about fundraising. Absolutely. You know, it was a great time in Perth. Great people. That's what I love about it too. When you meet a fundraiser, even if you don't know them, you're kind of the same. You know that you're going to have something in common because you give a shit about the world. So I really like that side of it.
That's it.
One thing, so Vicki, there's so much, you know, ChatGPT, things are evolving so quickly. Is there anything that kind of you're potentially fearful of at the next few years in fundraising?
I think we've got a really difficult space around advocacy, and also, you know, navigating this space of privacy. Do you know what I mean? Like, the community are more than ever cautious as well. And you know, we know as fundraisers we need to have this acquisition source constantly, and I think it's just going to get really difficult. People's perception of what we're doing, and you know that, and it's a really fine line, because there's so much trust and there's so much confidence, and if you ask the general person, they do value us as a sector and what we're doing. But I know even here, listening to the team, you know, we're getting more and more calls than ever before. People accusing us of list swapping. They're not understanding how accessible their data actually is. And we're not list swapping. We're participating in legal processes and purchases of data for acquisition sources. And I think that's going to be a really fine line for us, and maintaining that public trust and perception. And if we lose that, we are going to be in a lot of trouble. You know, and then that leads into things like, you know, some equalisation and cutting the red tape of, you know, that piece around harmonisation of fundraising legislation and ethics and, you know, those sorts of things. And this is why I'm passionately, whilst I am a raving fan of FIA, but passionately supportive of things like the FIA code. Because, again, I believe as a sector, the more people that are engaging in that, the stronger we are going to be together. And we just can't deny that. You know, we've always got to be that step ahead. We've got to be proving ourselves as ethical, transparent, professional fundraisers, you know, and really showing the impact that we're making. So all of that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the codes that protect the donors' money, and by adhering to them, they don't, you know, I absolutely agree with you. They're absolutely critical. So outside of fundraising, Annika, what do you get up to? What is a young, beautiful woman of your age? Where can we find you on the weekend?
At the beach.
Yeah, at the beach. Like I said, I've been doing surf lifesaving since I was 5, and it hasn't stopped. Winter, summer, whole year round.
I am terrified of the ocean. I hate it.
I love it. I'm terrified of things like moths, but I'll swim with a shark any day. Like, it's where I love to be. So yeah, the beach.
In the water.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Saying is that like with her swimming, she goes far, not fast.
Yes.
So she actually swims from Cottesloe Beach to Rottnest Island, which is 19.6 kilometres. On the days she can swim in a straight line.
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't get those days and it doesn't quite work out, but that's okay.
Oh, that's incredible! Wow, no, I've only swum in the ocean a few times. Where I come from in the northeast of Scotland, you will die if you swim in the ocean. So you don't really. I didn't learn to swim until I was like, I don't know, in my mid-teens, and not my cup of tea at all. Vicki, where can we find you on the weekend? What's your thing that kind of takes you away from the world of fundraising?
At the beach, absolutely. We're passionate clubbies. We are heavily involved in surf lifesaving Western Australia. So I officiate now. And so I'm at all the carnivals from our wee little nippers right through. And as Annika said, it's a 12-month-a-year obligation and commitment from us. So she's crazy and races those inflatable rescue boats, the orange rescue boat, during winter. And we do pool lifesaving. And then over summer, we do summer lifesaving. But we do have a nice trip coming up.
We
I'm going
travel
to
a bit now.
Yeah.
Since I graduated.
Where are you going?
I'm traveling a bit.
Yeah, I'm off to Scotland for the very first time. Yes.
Wow. Where about you going?
I'm going to Edinburgh only for a few days, Edinburgh, and then up to Loch Ness for a masterclass.
With Al Clayton?
Yeah.
Oh, you will love it. I am super jealous.
Yeah.
I believe Fee McPhee might be heading off to Scotland.
So. Yes.
Yeah, I had a chat to her last week. Well, the Loch Ness Monster did make an appearance only just a couple of weeks ago, apparently. I was reading, so bring my love to my homeland for me. Very jealous that you're going over there. That is fabulous. Listen, ladies, we're just about out of time. I've got one final question. Annika, unfortunately, I don't know if it will kind of work for you, but last question is, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self that you didn't know then that you know now?
You can do it. Keep going and you can do it. You know, nothing is insurmountable, and it is just piece by piece by piece, and be prepared for the long game, the long haul. There's no quick wins, and you can do it.
I love it. Annika, I'm just so delighted we'd had such a young person. What do you hope for the future? What's your hopes for the future?
To be completely honest, I'm not really sure, and I haven't.
That's
really
awesome. Do you know what? You don't need to be sure. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want to. Yeah. I have loved talking to you both. Your inspirations, having mum and daughter, I think it's a first. I absolutely love it, and keep doing the amazing work. And it was great to see you in Perth, and I'm sure I will be up there again. And Vicki, I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Absolutely brilliant. Do jump in the hub, and you'll be watching this in the hub. Do feel free to drop any messages to Vicki if you've got any questions for her. But until next time, that's the end of Conversation with Friends today, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.